Welcome to Legal Avenue Deep Dive, produced by our very own counsel, Ram. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel for even more legal insights. I'm Big Dave.
And I'm Cypher.
And today we're diving into a topic that's both exciting and a little daunting: how to excel at Uganda's Law Development Center.
At the LDC.
The LDC, exactly.
That's right. And you're in for a treat because we're going to be drawing from the experiences of two exceptional LDC graduates, Grace and Linda.
Yeah.
They recently gave a talk on the Dear Young Lawyers series on YouTube.
I saw that one.
Yeah. And let me tell you, their insights are pure gold for anyone about to tackle this beast of a program.
Okay, beast might be putting it mildly.
Right.
I've heard LDC described as a pressure cooker, a trial by fire, even a lion's den.
All of those, yeah.
What makes it so different from regular law school?
Well, imagine this. You're not just learning legal principles.
Right.
You're expected to master them.
Oh, wow.
And apply them in practical scenarios, all while juggling a mountain of coursework and the pressure of securing a clerkship. Oh, and did I mention the oral exams that everyone dreads?
Oh, yeah, they're legendary.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds intense. No wonder people talk about LDC with a mix of fear and respect.
Mm-hmm.
But Grace and Linda didn't just survive, they thrived.
We did.
So what's their secret weapon?
Well, according to them, it all starts with your mindset.
Okay.
Grace was very clear about this. You have to resist the negativity and rumors that swirl around LDC.
It's easy to get sucked in.
It's so easy to get caught up in the fear and doubt.
Right.
But that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Instead, you need to make a conscious choice to approach LDC as a challenge you're ready to conquer.
So it's about flipping the script, right?
Yeah.
Instead of seeing LDC as something you have to do, you choose to see it as an opportunity to grow and hone your legal skills.
Exactly. I like Linda added to that by talking about finding your why, that deep-seated motivation that fuels you when things get tough.
So,
When you have a clear purpose, the challenges become stepping stones, not roadblocks.
that's a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah. It's like choosing to see the glass half full, even when you're surrounded by people who are convinced it's empty.
Right.
The mindset is just the starting point.
Right. Linda also talked about the importance of knowing your learning style.
Okay.
Are you someone who thrives in group discussions, or do you prefer to lock yourself in a library and absorb information solo?
Yeah, are you a group learner or a solo learner?
Exactly. Understanding your strengths and weaknesses is crucial for tailoring your approach to LDC's demands.
Makes sense. It's about playing to your strengths, but I bet LDC also forces you to step out of your comfort zone, right?
Absolutely. Grace shared an anecdote about her initial experience with discussion groups.
Okay.
She joined one that wasn't very productive, so she took the initiative to find a more diverse and challenging group that forced her to think critically and defend her positions.
That's such a great example of how LDC pushes you to grow even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And speaking of pushing yourself, Linda had a really interesting point about consistency being more important than brilliance. That's a nugget of wisdom right there.
It is.
Linda emphasized that LDC isn't a sprint, it's a marathon.
Okay.
You don't need to be the smartest person in the room,
Right.
but you do need to show up consistently week after week and put in the work.
So it's about building those good habits.
Yes.
Those daily disciplines that will ultimately carry you through the program.
Yes.
Falling behind in a marathon is tough, and I imagine it's the same with LDC.
Exactly. Now, here's something else that Grace swears by. Meticulous organization.
Okay.
We're talking indexing and page numbering her notes.
Wow.
The kind of detail that most people would overlook.
That sounds a bit extreme,
It does.
but I bet it paid off, especially during those high-pressure exams.
It absolutely did. LDC is a constant battle against information overload, and good organization is your secret weapon.
That makes sense.
It frees up your mental energy to focus on the substance of the law rather than getting bogged down in the logistics of finding information.
That's a great point. It's like having a well-organized toolbox.
Yeah,
You know exactly where everything is, so you can quickly find the right tool for the job.
exactly. Now, another key theme that both Grace and Linda emphasized was collaboration.
Right.
They stressed the importance of sharing resources and learning from each other.
That makes sense. Law school in general can be a very competitive environment, but it sounds like LDC fosters a sense of camaraderie.
It does.
We're all in this together mentality.
It does.
Of like,
And there's a practical reason for that.
Right.
By discussing cases and sharing notes, students can check their understanding, catch errors, and fill in knowledge gaps.
Right.
They even shared an example of students realizing their notes contained outdated laws only after sharing them with each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a powerful illustration of why collaboration is so vital.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about getting help. It's about collectively raising the bar and ensuring everyone has the best possible chance of success.
Exactly. And it's not just about what happens inside the classroom.
Okay.
Linda had some great advice about staying current with legal developments,
That makes sense.
which might seem obvious, but is easy to neglect when you're buried in textbooks.
So it's about reading legal news, following important cases, basically staying plugged into the real world of law.
Yeah.
Why is that so important in the context of LDC?
Because LDC isn't designed to be an ivory tower.
Right.
It's about preparing you for the real world of legal practice where things are constantly evolving.
It's very practical.
It's very practical. Linda actually shared how a recent high-profile case appeared on an exam,
Wow.
rewarding those who stayed informed.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You're not just learning the law in theory, you're learning how to apply it in real-world scenarios.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the dreaded oral exams.
Yes.
Cypher, everyone seems to fear them.
Yeah.
How did Grace and Linda approach this challenge?
You know what's interesting? They both embraced it.
Really?
Both saw the oral exams as an opportunity to showcase their understanding and legal reasoning skills.
Interesting.
It's about shifting your perspective from fear to opportunity.
Easier said than done, right? I mean, the pressure of being in that room, facing a panel of experts who are grilling you on complex legal concepts.
Of course, it's nerve-wracking, but preparation is key.
Right.
Both Grace and Linda stressed the importance of discussing cases and practicing legal arguments from day one.
Okay.
They essentially treated every class discussion as a mini oral exam, honing their skills and building their confidence over time.
So you're constantly flexing those legal muscles,
Yes.
preparing yourself for that moment when you're in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Did they have any specific tips for handling the pressure on the big day?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Linda's advice was pure gold.
Okay.
She said, know the law thoroughly enough to look stupid in front of the examiners.
Okay.
Now, before you think she's suggesting you aim for ignorance, she actually meant that your understanding should be so deep that you can confidently handle even the most unexpected questions.
I love that. It's about having that unshakable confidence in your knowledge that allows you to navigate any curveball they throw at you. And it reminds me of something else Linda mentioned, the importance of demeanor and presentation.
Yes.
It's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it.
Precisely. Your demeanor, your confidence, your ability to articulate your thoughts clearly and persuasively, all of that plays a role in how you're perceived.
Right.
Linda even shared a funny story about using humor to de-stress after a particularly difficult oral exam.
Yeah.
She literally laughed off the tension and immediately shifted her focus to the next challenge.
That's resilience right there.
Okay.
So we've covered mindset, self-awareness, hard work, organization, collaboration, staying current, and even tackling oral exams. What else did these superachievers share that could help our listeners navigate the LDC?
Well, remember, LDC isn't just about academics, it's about launching your legal career.
That's right.
And that means securing a clerkship, which can be incredibly competitive.
Right. And trying to balance clerkship applications with exam preparation adds another layer of pressure to an already demanding program.
It does.
What did Grace have to say about that?
She learned a valuable lesson from her own experience.
Right.
She applied to over 10 law firms, but didn't get placed at any of them.
Oh, wow.
It was a tough experience, but it taught her the importance of being strategic and leveraging your network.
So it's not about blindly sending out applications.
Right.
It's about being thoughtful, targeted, and seeking guidance from people who can offer valuable insights.
Exactly.
Okay.
She stressed the importance of reaching out to your contacts in the legal field, seeking advice, and getting a better understanding of the clerkship landscape before you start mass applying.
Wow, this has been an incredible deep dive so far.
It has.
We've covered so much ground, and I feel like our listeners are already well on their way to taming that LDC lion.
Absolutely.
But we've only just scratched the surface.
That's right.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into the practical strategies and insights from Grace and Linda's LDC experience.
You are listening to the Deep Dive Podcast, powered by Local Avenue.
Welcome back to Legal Avenue Deep Dive. In part 1, we established that excelling at Uganda's LDC requires a strategic blend of mindset, self-awareness, and consistent effort.
And let's not forget the power of collaboration and staying up to date with real-world legal developments.
Right.
Those are some key takeaways from Grace and Linda.
Absolutely.
But now let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
How did they actually handle the week-to-week grind of LDC?
They had a system,
Okay.
which is crucial when you're facing the kind of workload LDC throws at you.
Right.
Linda emphasized that each week brings a new wave of legal principles to master,
Okay.
and falling behind can be disastrous.
Oh, wow.
It's like trying to catch a runaway train.
So how did they stay on top of this constant influx of information? Did they have a magic formula?
Grace's approach was fascinating.
Okay.
She wouldn't even touch the new workshop materials until after the Friday IA.
Wait, back up a
I
second.
love that.
What's an IA?
Right.
For those of us who aren't familiar with LDC jargon.
Good point.
Yeah.
IA stands for individual assessment.
Okay.
Essentially a mini test that happens every Friday at LDC.
Okay.
It covers the material from that week's workshop.
Okay, so Grace would tackle the IA, and only then would she dive into the next week's materials.
Exactly.
I could see how that would help her focus on one challenge at a time instead of getting overwhelmed by the sheer volume of work.
Exactly. She was very deliberate about creating mental space to decompress and recharge before tackling the next wave of information. It's like taking a breather between sprints.
So she'd finish the IA, take a well-deserved break, and then approach the next week's workshop with a fresh mind.
Yes.
What did that look like in practice?
She'd start by thoroughly reading the materials before even attending the discussion group.
Okay.
That way she could actively engage in the discussions, ask insightful questions, and really cement her understanding.
That's a proactive approach.
It is.
Linda, on the other hand, had a slightly different strategy, right?
Yes. She and her discussion group would meet right after the IA,
Okay.
do a quick skim of the workshop facts,
Okay.
and then brainstorm their initial thoughts and questions.
So they leave campus on Friday with at least a basic grasp of the next week's topics. Yeah. It seems like both approaches emphasize early engagement with the material, which makes sense when you're dealing with such a fast-paced program.
Absolutely. Procrastination is not your friend at LDC.
Right.
The sooner you dive in, the better. Now, let's talk about note-taking, something both Grace and Linda emphasized.
Okay.
They were both big advocates of writing notes rather than just copying.
Okay.
Why is that distinction so important?
I'm guessing it has something to do with active learning versus passive absorption.
Mm-hmm.
Copying notes can create an illusion of progress,
Right.
but it doesn't mean you're actually processing the information.
You hit the nail on the head. Writing notes forces you to engage with the material, synthesize it, and put it into your own words,
Okay.
which helps you remember it and apply it later.
So it's about making those connections, building those neural pathways.
Yes.
Did they offer any specific tips for effective note-taking?
Linda suggested aligning your notes with the learning outcomes outlined for each workshop.
Okay.
Don't just mindlessly copy chunks of text. Focus on capturing the key principles, the supporting case law, and any procedural steps that are relevant.
It's like creating a personalized roadmap for each topic.
Yeah.
Making sure you hit all the essential points.
Exactly. Grace added another layer to that.
Okay.
She encouraged students to go beyond the provided materials.
Okay.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
Read full case judgments. Explore related laws and regulations.
Wow.
It's about being a legal detective, digging deeper and connecting the dots.
That's going the extra mile.
It is.
But it makes sense considering LDC exams often test your ability to apply the law to complex real-world scenarios.
Right.
You need that deeper understanding to navigate those tricky situations.
Precisely. And remember, knowledge is meant to be shared.
Okay.
Both Grace and Linda were big advocates for collaboration.
Okay.
Even when it came to note-taking.
Okay.
Share your notes with classmates, compare, contrast, fill in gaps, and catch any errors.
It's about building a community of support where everyone benefits from each other's insights. Now let's talk about another aspect of LDC that can feel overwhelming. Mastering the art of legal document drafting.
Grace had a simple but powerful piece of advice.
Right.
Draft every document.
Okay.
Don't just passively read about the different types of legal documents. Take the time to actually create them.
It's about turning theory into practice. I bet that hands-on experience helps you internalize the nuances of legal language and the specific requirements of each document.
Absolutely. And Linda chimed in with a fantastic tip.
Okay.
Leverage online resources.
Okay.
She specifically recommended checking out the website of the Uganda Registration Services Bureau.
Right.
They have a treasure trove of legal document templates and examples.
That's a goldmine. You can see how legal documents are structured in real-world scenarios.
Yes, you can.
And of course, share any helpful templates or examples you find with your classmates.
Right.
Collaborative learning is key at LDC.
Couldn't agree more. Now let's address the elephant in the room exams. We know that LDC exams are notorious for their high stakes and demanding nature.
Yes.
They're like the final boss battle in a video game.
And both Grace and Linda emphasized that preparation starts from day one.
Right.
But what about those final few weeks leading up to the exams? How did they approach that crucial period?
Organization is key.
Okay.
Grace stressed the importance of having all your notes complete indexed and easily accessible.
Makes sense.
LDC exams are time pressured, so you can't afford to waste precious minutes frantically searching for information.
It's about having your mental ducks in a row ready to fire on all cylinders.
Yes.
Linda also shared a cautionary tale about knowing the rules.
Oh.
She had to scramble to dismantle photocopied compendiums a week before the exams because they weren't allowed.
Oh, wow.
That's a valuable reminder. Don't make assumptions. Clarify the rules early on to avoid any last-minute surprises. Any other exam-related wisdom from our LDC gurus?
Both emphasize the importance of active revision.
Go ahead.
Don't just passively reread your notes. Engage with the material through discussion, practice questions, and mock exams.
It's like taking your knowledge for a test drive, making sure it can handle the real-world conditions of the exam.
Exactly. Study groups can also be incredibly valuable during exam preparation.
Okay.
Quiz each other, share insights, offer mutual support.
Makes sense.
It's a team effort.
This has been another jam-packed segment.
It has.
We've covered everything from weekly workshop prep to note-taking, document drafting, and exam preparation.
We have.
But we're not done yet. In part 3, we'll explore the emotional side of LDC.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the pressure, the stress, and those moments when you feel like giving up?
Important.
We'll also dive into their advice on navigating clerkship applications and what life beyond LDC looks like.
Right.
Stay tuned.
You are listening to the Deep Dive Podcast, powered by Luko Avenue.
Welcome back to Legal Avenue Deep Dive.
Yeah.
We're in the final stretch of our exploration of how to not just survive, but truly thrive at Uganda's Law Development Center.
Yes.
In parts 1 and 2, we unpacked a treasure trove of practical strategies from Grace and Linda, 2 LDC graduates who clearly cracked the code to success.
They did.
We've covered mindset, study habits, note-taking, document, drafting, even exam prep, all the essential ingredients for academic success.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
But LDC isn't just about hitting the books.
Right.
It's about navigating a high-pressure environment that can really test your limits, both mentally and emotionally.
Exactly. So let's get real.
Okay.
How did Grace and Linda deal with the emotional roller coaster of LDC? Did they share any tips for staying sane amidst the chaos?
Well, they both stress the importance of having a solid stress management system.
Okay.
Grace, in particular, was very intentional about creating space to decompress and recharge, especially after those intense Friday IAs.
Makes sense. You need a way to release that pressure valve or you're going to explode.
Yeah.
What did she do to unwind? Did she have any go-to rituals?
Sometimes it was as simple as taking a long walk to clear her head and reconnect with nature. Other times, she'd lean on her support system, her family, friends, anyone who could offer a listening ear and a dose of encouragement.
So it's about having those healthy outlets, those ways to step away from the LDC intensity and replenish your emotional reserves. Did Linda have any similar strategies?
Absolutely. She talked about the importance of maintaining a social life even during the most demanding periods of LDC.
I can see that.
It's about finding those moments of joy and connection that remind you there's a world beyond textbooks and legal arguments.
Right. This raises an interesting question.
Okay.
How do you balance having fun and maintaining a social life with the sheer volume of work required at LDC? It's not like you can just party every night and expect to ace your exams.
Well, balance is key, and that's where good time management comes in.
Right.
Linda talked about the need to be deliberate and intentional about how you spend your time.
Okay.
Yes, LDC requires a significant investment of time and energy,
Right.
but it shouldn't consume your entire life.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, making time for both work and play. Didn't Linda even mention playing soccer as a way to de-stress?
She did, and she emphasized that it actually helped her focus and perform better during the oral exams.
Really?
By having those physical outlets, she could release pent-up tension and clear her mind.
That's fascinating. It highlights the mind-body connection, how taking care of your physical well-being can have a direct impact on your mental clarity and cognitive performance.
Right.
Now let's talk about those inevitable moments when you feel overwhelmed, when the pressure mounts, and the thought of giving up creeps in.
It happened.
Did Grace and Linda ever experience those dark moments?
They both acknowledged that those feelings are completely normal.
Okay.
Grace in particular talked about having days when she would break down and cry from the sheer pressure.
Wow.
But she also emphasized that giving up was never an option for her.
So how did she push through those moments of doubt? What was her secret weapon?
She had a powerful way of reframing her perspective. She'd remind herself of all the hard work she'd already invested in her legal education.
Right.
Quitting would mean throwing away years of effort and sacrificing her dream of becoming a lawyer.
It's about remembering your why. That deep-seated motivation that drives you even when the going gets tough.
Yeah.
Did Linda offer any advice for those moments when you feel like you're hitting a wall?
She stressed the importance of self-compassion.
Okay.
It's okay to acknowledge that you're struggling.
Right.
But instead of beating yourself up or dwelling on the negativity, focus on finding solutions.
Right.
Take a break, talk to someone, do something that brings you joy, and then get back to it with renewed energy.
It's about being your own best cheerleader, even when you feel like you're failing. Now let's shift gears and talk about a topic that looms large for LDC students' clerkship placements.
Yes.
Trying to secure a clerkship while preparing for those grueling exams adds a whole new level of pressure.
It does.
Both Grace and Linda had some valuable insights on this. Grace shared her experience of applying to over 10 law firms, only to be rejected by all of them.
Oh, wow. That's tough.
Ouch, that's a tough experience.
Yeah.
But I bet it taught her some valuable lessons.
It absolutely did. It highlighted the importance of being strategic and leveraging your network.
Okay.
It's not just about sending out as many applications as possible.
Right.
It's about targeting the right firms and seeking guidance from people who can offer valuable insights.
So it's about quality over quantity and about tapping into the collective wisdom of your network.
Mm-hmm.
Did Linda have any similar advice?
She emphasized the importance of being selective.
Okay.
Don't just apply to every firm that has an opening.
Right.
Focus on those that genuinely align with your interests and long-term career aspirations.
It's about finding the right fit, not just grabbing the first opportunity that comes along. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive into excelling at LDC,
Okay.
what's the one piece of advice that stands out to you? What's the golden nugget our listeners should take away?
What's fascinating is that both Grace and Linda, despite having different approaches and personalities, ultimately emphasize the same thing. Focus on doing your absolute best, rather than fixating on passing or failing.
That's such a powerful mindset shift. It's about letting go of the outcome and focusing on the process, on becoming the best lawyer you can be.
Exactly. When you pour your energy into learning, growing, and developing your legal skills, the results will follow.
Right.
And even if things don't go exactly as planned, you'll emerge from LDC as a stronger, more resilient, and more capable lawyer.
That's an inspiring note to end on. So to our listener who's about to embark on their LDC journey, remember, embrace the challenge, find your why, work hard, collaborate, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
And most importantly,
Yeah.
focus on becoming the best lawyer you can be. The rest will fall into place.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into excelling at Uganda's Law Development Center.
You're welcome.
We hope you found these insights valuable and that you're now equipped to not just survive, but truly thrive in this challenging and rewarding program.
Absolutely.
And remember to subscribe to Counsel Ram's YouTube channel for even more legal insights.
Yes, do that.
Until next time.